You're listening to the Business Mike podcast. Amazing interviews with entrepreneurs and industry thought leaders.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Mike podcast. And joining me today is Boha. Boha, can you just let the listeners and viewers know a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, thanks for having me today. My name is Borja Kwan. I'm the co-founder of 415 Digital. We are a growth marketing agency with offices in California and Mexico, 7.5 years old. And we work with businesses of all shapes and sizes and stages of development to help them advertise across various digital platforms, specifically Google Ads, Microsoft Bing, Meta, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Our goal is to help them drive sales, appointments, conversions. Really, the focus is on scaling businesses through those digital marketing platforms. We have about 35 clients that we work with, spanning various categories. And current media under management is about $220 million a year.
Right. Now, there's something you mentioned in your introduction, and that was basically online and digital marketing. And what comes to mind from me, particularly from the customer experience point of view, is the AI, especially in an industry like yours. So I'm just curious to know as to what impact or role AI has played, whether it has benefited you in terms of helping your clients or affected you in the sense that they are trying to use it to replace you.
Yeah, no, I think AI is something that we embrace as an agency. And it's another tool that we can use to help serve our clients and help their businesses. So for us, we see it as additive, not as something that is going to replace us. Certainly, we've been leveraging it mainly around content generation and creative design. And that doesn't mean that we don't have people putting their own thoughts, as I like to say, manually intervening, overriding AI. So I think for us, it's been another tool that we've been able to use to help sort of build out campaigns from a content standpoint and a creative standpoint, but with oversight and guidance. So we would not sort of rely solely on AI to do the work that we need to do to serve our clients. We often find that there's a lot of sort of inputs that we have to give and modifications that we need to make to get the outcomes that we want using AI, but certainly a tool that's being used and not something that we're scared of or resisting. We're certainly taking the other approach, which is really embracing it and building it into a lot of the workflows that we have.
Right. And in an industry like yours, of course, it's very much cutthroat. The competition is very tight. And so I wonder how you compete. A lot of the professionals I have on, particularly in the banking industry, they try and compete using maybe experiences of their customers and things like that. But in your particular industry, how does one get the edge over another? Is it results? Is it experience? Maybe you can just help us clarify on that.
Yeah, we are in a hyper-competitive environment. Our service is very commoditized, frankly. So a lot of there are many businesses that do what we do. Some of them are very good. Some of them are very bad. And ultimately, it's very difficult to differentiate yourself, to come up with a unique value proposition or unique selling points as an agency, because, at the end of the day, many of our competitors say similar, if not exact things. So for us, what has worked very well is our process to win business is probably a point of differentiation with many agencies. We are not very sales oriented. What I mean by that is when we talk to prospects, we're not spending a lot of time reviewing case studies, talking about the company, the numbers. We've been profitable. We manage all this money. We've worked with companies X, Y, and Z. We can certainly cover that, and that is what I consider sales collateral. But I think where prospects derive the most value and where we have the most success in showing someone what it would be like to work with us and proving to them that we have experience and that we know what we're doing and that we've been successful at it is by way of doing audits. So we do very comprehensive audits for the clients who are interested in learning more about us. And that really means that we are going deep, looking under the hood at their various ad accounts, really taking the time to understand their business, taking the time to understand what some of their biggest challenges are and what some of the biggest problems they have that they're trying to solve. And then we put together a document or a presentation on our analysis, our assessment of how things look, a state of the union, if you will, a diagnostic on the good, the bad, the ugly, right? Based on sort of math and experience, what do we observe as the things that are currently doing well with the programs that they have? And conversely, what is not being done well? And then most importantly, what would 415 Digital do if they were in the driver's seat, in control of managing your media and growing your business? And so we actually detail that out, that plan out to them and present it to them and share with them what our strategy would be in moving their business forward and solving some of their biggest problems. And that gives this prospect a very clear understanding of how we think about digital marketing and how we think about their business working together. Gives them the opportunity to challenge us in areas that they may be unclear on or have a different point of view on, and then how we respond to that and how we work through those things. And so I think that very consultative approach, being very curious, asking questions, understanding their business, doing research, spending 15 to 20 hours during the sales process to put these documents together and then presenting them to our points of contact and decision makers provides a lot of value free of charge to the prospect. And so that is how we try to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, is by really spending a lot of time up front showing value to prospects before they enter into an agreement with us.
Well, that's impressive, and it's something I wouldn't have thought about, particularly as someone that isn't actively working in the advertising space. So what then, if I may say, if I might play devil's advocate, how would the competition counter something like that? Because from what I'm seeing, it's as though you really try and put yourselves in the customer's shoes. You try and understand them, and it's investing in knowing the customer that gives you the advantage. And I'm not quite sure that the competition can easily replicate that. They might be focusing more on pitching the results bit of it. In other words, if you come with us, we'll help you achieve 10x what you're getting right now, as opposed to highlighting what's on the ground right now and how exactly it is that you do that. They just talk about how they'll get those results done. And I'm curious as to how the pitching generally tends to go. You've told us your unique approach, but generally, how does it tend to go, and what is it about your approach that helps you not only win the customers, but also retain them over a lengthy period of time, if at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think as part of that audit, we also will share how we think we can grow the business specifically, i.e. based on their success metrics, whether that's return on ad spend, cost to acquire a customer, percentage of revenue as a marketing expenditure. We will actually say to the client what we believe we can do in terms of improving the business, right? And whether that's a percentage increase or reducing the cost to acquire a customer by X dollars, improving return on ad spend by 2X. So we will get very detailed with what we believe all of this work will result in terms of a numerical value. And that also sort of instills confidence in them. But I think when you spend so much time during a sales process to take an interest in a business and do research and do a lot of work, I think that goes a long way in showing people that you care deeply. And I think that's a major point of differentiation. I think there's a lot of agencies out there that do an excellent job, A+ in sales. And then where we find people becoming underwhelmed is when that salesperson hands off the work to the client services person, right, who actually has to deliver on a lot of those promises. And so one of the reasons we have average retention rates of 32 months with our clients is because most people that we work with see that we care deeply about their success and that we are obsessive about customer retention and that we are obsessive over driving results and good outcomes for our clients. I think in our business, the two most important things that directly correlate with good retention rates are building relationships and driving results. And driving results is probably more important than building relationships, but you really have to do both to win business long term. And the reason for that is because clients want to do business with people that they like doing business with, that they enjoy working with, that they enjoy spending time with, that they can get through those difficult times with. Because what we know inevitably in business is that you will have highs and lows. It will not always be a trajectory upward, right? I wish that were the case, but there are times when you will actually have low points in a relationship. And why having a relationship matters is because it allows you to get through those low points together, right? And so we ask our team to always understand what the success metrics are for that business. How are we being evaluated as a vendor numerically, right? Because we have to drive results. We have to grow their business. That is a non-negotiable. But equally important is taking the time to get to know your clients, right? Build relationships with them. Spend time with them, not just on Zoom, but get together with them in person a few times a year, right? Sit in a conference room, sit in a restaurant, go play a round of golf, do something together that is not work related to build deeper connections. And so I think it's so competitive that really you need to have both. And if you have one, I just think you risk losing the client, because if you're driving results, but they don't like working with you, I think that's not a long-term strategy. If you're not driving results, but they really like you, well, they'll probably give you more time to make it work, right? If you don't have a relationship and you're not driving results, it's very easy to break up with you. So I think for us, those are the two most important things in what we do, is really building relationships and driving value by way of results. And by driving value, that means you have to be very strategic with the way that you work with clients. You can't be tactical only. You have to merge strategy with tactics, right? Tactics are important and necessary, but really people are looking for strategic advisors and people that can think sort of holistically about their business and not be sort of very narrowly focused, right? And so the more value you can bring, the more you can do for a client, the more problems you can solve, the more work you can take off their plate, the better position you're in to retain that client long term.
Yeah, I want to find out from you, being in a digital space generally, with the advent of what happened during the lockdown, people working at home. yours is a results-driven business, and I'm curious as to what your setup looks like internally, specifically, because you could slice it either way. You could have staff working remotely, but working in harmony to deliver results effectively, or physically present at the workplace to execute. I don't know which approach you prefer and which you go for, especially in the digital marketing landscape that you're in.
Yeah, I think what I'll say is what works for us doesn't represent what works for others. So I speak only based on what I have seen proven to work for my business and my team and my clients. So we are a business that has 3 physical offices, 2 in California, 1 in Mexico. And we have a few remote staff members. But really, our goal is to have people in office working together. So right now, it's 3 days in the office, 2 days work from home. We ended up with a hybrid model. We want to give staff some freedom and flexibility to elect to work from home or another location if they desire to do so a few times a week. But really being in the office 3 days a week, spending time together, having lunch together, grabbing a cup of coffee together, going for a walk together, meeting in person, working on projects in person. What we found is that when we had the staff working fully remote during COVID and even a little bit after COVID, we started to see a lot of burnout, mental health issues with staff, and also decelerated learning. So a lot of staff was not learning at an accelerated rate. They were, just the disadvantage of being in the office, learning through osmosis, overhearing conversations, asking a quick question, the over-reliance on Zoom or Slack really means that I think you just limit the dialogue, right? Because Slack's not intended to be a 30-minute conversation back and forth. It's intended to be a quick way to communicate with people, right? It's not to replace in person. It's just to supplement, and it's an additional way to communicate, but it's not really to me, the most impactful way. It's quick and easy, right? So we have found immense value in having people spend time intentionally in the office. When they're in the office, they seem to really enjoy each other's company. They also seem to find ways to just hang out, right? Happy hour, lunches, coffee breaks, as I mentioned. And everybody seems to be learning much more sort of quickly. They seem to be more mentally healthy because they have that break. They're coming into an office, they're talking to other people. We have a 36,000 square foot space here in Northern California, where we are sort of surrounded by a lot of people, not just my company, but other companies. So people have the opportunity to speak to other folks in other industries and make connections and things like that. So I can't sort of underscore enough how important it is for us to have the staff together, set 3 days a week. Working together on projects. And I think clients really value that. I think they see that we're sort of in an office, that we're talking to each other, that we're sort of, working on their priorities together. And so it's worked out well for us. So that's sort of the model that we adopted, that we have seen to be most successful. I know there are a lot of companies out there that believe in sort of fully remote. I have a very strong opinion that if you're right out of college working remotely, you will be at an immense disadvantage in terms of developing a lot of the skill sets needed to be successful in business, primarily around the areas of soft skills, communication. I think, sitting in a bedroom on Zoom, presenting to a client or having a meeting is very different than sitting in a conference room where you actually feel the energy of people, right? You hear them breathing, you hear them coughing. It's a different feeling, right? So I think my advice to people that are starting out in their careers is really find a job where you're in an office. You're, out of sight, out of mind. And I think when you're in an office and you're building relationships with people and you're learning from them and spending time with them, it goes a long ways in terms of ascending in your career.
Yeah, well said, well said. And I tend to agree with that because I have seen firsthand the beauty and results of working in close proximity to colleagues as opposed to engaging them remotely, especially on the mental health bit of it. Boha, we're coming to the end of the interview. And just before we let you go, can you share just some parting shots, parting words of advice from your perspective, particularly in terms of customer experience from the point of view of using that as a way to compete and have an edge over the competitors?
Yeah, I think customer experience is the single most important thing you have to consider as a business owner. I would say let's put staff aside because investing in your team and prioritizing your team in terms of training and development is really important. And for us, it's paramount that we do that in order to retain our employees. So that's very important. Now, outside of that, I would say customer experience means a lot to us. We are very customer centric. It is really what allows us to retain our clients. And so everything is really planned out in terms of our approach to customer experience. It really does start with investing in the team, right? Your team is really your product, right? They are the ones on the front line. They are the ones that are interacting with your customers. They are the ones that are representing your brand. So if you don't invest in your team, which means understanding what their professional goals and objectives are, explaining to them what your mission is, explaining to them what your core values are, making sure that they are aligned with that, making sure that they are bought into that. Why do we do what we do? All of these things are really important in spending time with your staff when they join. And we put a lot of emphasis in onboarding, and especially in the first 90 days, because we believe that people make decisions long-term on their employers based on the first 90-day experience. And so all of the things that we do with our team ultimately translates into customer experience. And we know if our team is supported, trained, that's going to translate into happy employees, which means you have happy customers. And so what we do with our approach around customer experience is really, spend a lot of time documenting things. There's a lot of discipline to our approach in terms of how we work with clients, a lot of the tools that we use to manage projects, to communicate with our clients, a lot of formality with our protocols with, weekly calls and agendas and quarterly business reviews. We have all of this stuff that we do that we know is important to customers and they appreciate and value it. And then we survey our customers, a couple times a year, to understand, how we're doing as a partner, right? We want to get sort of a good net promoter score. And if we are not happy, if we have a customer who's not happy, we want that feedback. Feedback is something that we value and we appreciate very much. It gives us an opportunity to improve. And that's what we're really always aspiring to do as an agency, is get better at what we do. There will never be a time where we feel that we have reached the sort of end of the ladder and that there's not areas of improvement that we can make as a business. I think, this is a very customer service oriented business, and you have to be on top of things, crossing T's, dotting I's, and really sweating the small stuff, not just the big stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Boha. And before I let you go, how can people learn more about your company? Where can they find you online? Are you available on LinkedIn? Just let us know how we can get in touch.
Yeah, feel free to visit our website, www.f for four, our digital.com. And there we have a lot of information about the services that we offer. You can also fill out a form and we can sort of schedule a call. We'd love to talk to anybody who's interested in talking to us about their digital marketing programs or customer acquisition or how we can help them scale. So we're happy to do that free of charge.
Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with us some of the insights into the digital space and how it is that you win over customers, how you retain them, and some of the things that you do for your staff to help you get the best out of them. Wishing you the very best and hope to chat with you again soon. Goodbye for now, Boa.
Thank you for having me.